Somewhere in a plaza in Valencia this evening, a little after 8:30, the light went strange, and then it went away. For the length of one held breath, the sun over eastern Spain slipped completely behind the moon, and a country that had not stood inside that shadow since 1905 stood inside it again. That is what a total solar eclipse does, and today, one crossed the top of the world. The moon's shadow touched down over northern Russia, swept across Greenland and Iceland, and then ran down over Spain and a sliver of Portugal. I'm Naomi, and this is the Good News Desk. And tonight, the good news is simply this. For a few minutes, millions of strangers all looked up at the same darkened sky. Let me give you the size of it, because the numbers are lovely. The path of totality, that narrow ribbon where the sun disappears completely, is never very wide. Today, about 15 million people happened to be standing inside it, according to Al Jazeera. But the reach went so much further than that. Close to 980 million people, nearly 1 in every 8 human beings alive, could step outside and see at least a bite taken out of the sun. Think about that ratio for a second. 1 in 8 people on Earth, all sharing a piece of the same sky on the same afternoon. And here is a detail I love for how it keeps you humble. Even Madrid and Barcelona, 2 of Spain's biggest cities, sat just outside the ribbon. They got more than 99% of the sun covered, and still, technically, missed the full blackout. Totality is generous, but it is precise. You have to be standing in exactly the right place. Now, the part that gives this its weight, the waiting. For Spain, the last time the sky did this was 1905. That is a gap of 121 years, long enough that not one person who watched the last one was alive to watch this one. And farther north, the wait had been longer still. By the account of PBS, Iceland saw its first total eclipse since 1954. And for Reykjavik, the capital itself, PBS reports it was the first eclipse visible from the city since 1433. Let that land, 1433. Nearly 6 centuries. Columbus had not sailed, the printing press had not been built, and the last time Reykjavik's sky went dark like this in the middle of the day, no one alive today could have told you about it, because it is written in no living memory at all. I will flag honestly that the 1433 figure comes from a single outlet, PBS, so I am handing it to you with its source attached. So how long did the dark actually last? And the honest, wonderful answer is, it depended entirely on where your feet were planted, because the shadow's geometry changes across the ground. At the very best spot, out over the Atlantic, forecasters put the maximum at about 2 minutes and 18 seconds of total darkness. By the time the shadow reached the Spanish mainland, the window was shorter, up to around 110 seconds in cities like León, Valladolid, Zaragoza, and Valencia, depending on the exact street you stood on. These are the projected numbers going in, and they vary by location. Not because anyone is arguing, but because the sky simply does different math over different ground. And one more piece of fine print, because good news deserves it too. Totality only shows up if the sky is clear. A stubborn bank of cloud over any stretch of that path could turn a once-in-a-century moment into an ordinary gray evening for the people underneath it. The wonder was real. It was also never guaranteed. The one thing every scientist along that path said over and over was about your eyes. Here is how Telmo Fernandez Castro, the director of the Madrid Planetarium, put it. Quote, "To look at the sun, you must always use proper protection, and the most suitable protection is eclipse glasses. That little cardboard filter is the entire price of admission to a couple of minutes of daytime night, and it is worth every cent." So here is what I am keeping from today, crew. We spend so much of this desk on things people did to each other. This was not that. This was just the solar system, running like clockwork, handing 15 million strangers the exact same minute of awe for free, whether they were in a Russian tundra or a Valencia plaza. Some of them waited their whole lives for it. One city waited nearly 600 years. And this evening, right on schedule, the scoff paid up. Go with the next one, and central in the right place. I'm Naomi, and this is Pixel Politics.